There is a widening gap in food insecurity between Ohio and most of the country. In Knox County, Food for the Hungry is working to fill that gap with their collection of food and funds to benefit local food pantries. Often when we think of food pantries, we think of canned and boxed food, but one local college student has revitalized an age-old idea, gleaning.
Gleaning is like an age-old idea, like from back in the Bible. It's mentioned in the Bible many times. There are lots of old pictures of it, and it's something I feel like has been kind of forgotten current day. But gleaning is basically when you take surplus produce from either farms or I did a lot with vendors at the farmers market who had already harvested everything, and you donate whatever surplus to local food pantries or people in need so they can benefit from it. I got the idea watching actually a documentary on gleaning, and it was basically about this woman studying gleaning in France. And so she went around to a bunch of people. Many of them were actually homeless, and talked to them about how they got food, and a lot of them would just scrummage whatever was on the street. After markets, they would go and pick up stuff that was on the ground. And then they also talked about like what I did, which is actually getting things from farms and donating them and that kind of thing. And I just thought, why in the world aren't we doing that in Knox County? Like, we have so much agriculture going on. It's one of the poorest counties in the state. There are lots of people who need food.
The idea was simple, but putting it into action would take more than Kayla could offer alone.
I went and talked to my internship supervisor, Sabrina Schertzinger, and also someone we work with a lot, Paul Higgins, and just told them this idea. I said, why can't we do this? This is like, I feel like this is something we could do. And both of them jumped on board and said, okay, let's do this. This sounds awesome. And it just kind of took off from there. It started basically bare bones, nothing, with everyone saying, Kayla, what are we gonna do? And I said, I have no idea. So I had to do a lot of research into like actual, because this isn't like the first gleaning program that's ever happened. There are states that do it, actual states that do it on pretty much a statewide basis. Basically, I took those and then bounced ideas off of Sabrina and Paul and said, do you think this would work here? What do you think would work best? And so we started out coming up with like a training program for volunteers. We talked to all of the farmers market vendors, and it was really beneficial for me because this was my second year interning at the OSU Extension office, so all of the farmers market vendors already knew me. And so I basically came in and said, hey guys, we're gonna do something new this summer, and pretty much all of them were on board with it. At the beginning, it was just, if you have surplus produce, just call me and we'll figure out a way to get it. However, from there, when the farmers market started, I thought, well, wouldn't it be cool if we could just pick up stuff from the farmers market because they've already washed it, it's ready to sell, it's ready to eat. But a lot of them don't sell things, and maybe you might not be able to take it to another market within a few days while it's still good. A lot of the vendors really got on board with that idea. And I would literally go to the farmers market with buckets and say, hey, do you have any surplus stuff that you'd like to donate? And a lot of them would say yes, and so we got a ton of produce donated that way. Sometimes we had donations of over like 600 pounds of produce at one time, and there was no way that we could get that out to people within 4 days, and the produce would go bad. So we took some of it to Salvation Army, and they just happened to have the Hot Meals program on that night, so they just gave out bags of produce to people.
Since it was the first year for the project, Kayla didn't know what to expect. But the results impressed her, and she is excited to see it continue to grow.
I actually just updated all of our data for the full season through October, and the final numbers are over 2,900 pounds of produce donated to the Interchurch Food Pantry and also some to the Salvation Army. And the number of families that had access to fresh produce was over 1,300. It definitely will continue as far as I know, which is really great. And my hope is just to get more people on board, one, because the more, well, first of all, the more growers we have, the more we can donate, and the more volunteers we have, the more we can get out of fields and then donate. But also, we've worked a lot on trying to get the idea out there, especially through different extension offices. Sabrina and I have like made a poster and things, and she's going to present a poster in December at a conference basically talking about the idea and trying to get other people to realize that it's not a hard thing to do, but it takes a lot of like planning, like I said, and matching pieces to get it going. But once it's going, it's kind of hard to stop.
While the Gleaning project largely takes place from May to October, there are still many ways to get involved.
There's definitely a lot of ways to get involved. Either contacting the OSU Extension Office of Knox County, Sabrina Schertzinger, or even contacting Job and Family Services now, or even contacting one of the pantries directly, contacting Joy Harris at Interchurch, and she can direct them to the correct people.
With just a simple idea, Kayla was able to affect the lives of many people of Knox County. You too can make a difference by partnering with Food for the Hungry this season.